Hey there, boo boo. Hey there, boo boo. Gotta get the picnic from the picnic basket. Ah, dang it. Don't click that button. Oh, weird. It just put me back. You guys alive? What's going on? I can't read the chat because I'm not in the room yet. Oh, there you are. Boo boo. There we go. All right, that's the most annoying part of the song. All right. Let me move things around, ladies and germs. Guten Morgen, Jumbo. Ohio, ni hao ma. Here's Ron. Hey, Ron, you've been busy lately, huh? Live and kicking. Awesome. Big day today, FOMC, and we have the dual session, a.k.a. State of the Union Address. Right on, Ronnie. Glad everything's all right. What are we waiting for? Kind of for me to finish yesterday's coffee. Actually, I need a break. I've been hustling. Hey, I think today is my 2-week anniversary of my second shot. So I guess today I'm technically vaccinated. All right. Well, I guess that's it. I don't know where the music went, so it must be done. What window is it? All right. There's no music. I feel like there's going to be an ad or something. Is there it? Oh, here it is. All right, so I guess we can start. It must be 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it is 8:01. Welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of 18,000 foreign exchange traders stationed around the world. We synchronize our watches. What do I usually say about satellites? Coordinator satellites? No, what? Synchronize their satellites, coordinator watches. I don't know. Anyways, we're here to do what? Planner trades, trader plans. Great. Today, like I said, we got FOMC, then later State of the Union. So today is probably one of those days where everything's on pause. But nonetheless, we have to be ready, willing, and able to do what the weak and the mediocre are just completely incapable or unwilling to do. And that is to succeed. Do you have the strength to succeed? Let's go. So let me remind you that trading is risky. It's not appropriate for anyone or everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results, but please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term. Never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Hey, good morning, everybody. Ooh. Welcome to Forex.Today. So what are we here for? Technical analysis, fundamental analysis, trader psychology. We're going to cover the euro, the CAD, the yen, the Aussie, the pound, the Kiwi, the Swissy, maybe. Dollar, oh, faux show. And Sangam says, and Adam Smith. Oh, he's trading in Google search today? That's interesting. Yeah, well, look, if you want to talk Wealth of Nations, yeah, I've read the original. Thank you, Harvard. So anyways, we can do whatever you want. That's the thing. You have the power. I will do my best to address your concerns, your needs, your wants, your questions, all that kind of stuff. I'd like to thank Traders Way for being part of our community as well. When you are ready to trade real money, you're going to need a broker that you trust. Why don't you give them an opportunity to earn your loyalty and respect and your trust now? You start by opening up a demo account. And you're like, yeah, man, I want to see the spreads. Oh, the spreads are very competitive. By the way, never go with the cheapest broker because they're lying. Competitive, yeah. Okay, what else? You want fast execution speed. Why? Because you don't want any slippage. Okay? And by the way, the lowest, cheapest, bottom of the barrel brokers that offer you the lowest, unbelievably low spreads, yeah, they just slip you and they make the pips that way. So what else do you want? How about huge swaps? You're like, what's a swap? That's the interest payment that you collect. A lot of brokers charge you instead of pay you. Can you imagine? Negative swap on both sides of your trades? Are you kidding me? You trade with a broker like that? That's disgusting, even unethical. So Traders Way actually pays you the positive swaps, huge positive swaps. So you're like, hey, kind of like their business. Yeah, and remind yourself that their business model is based on me helping you find success first, finding your confidence first, developing your skills first. And why would they want that before they've even developed a relationship with you? They actually want you to be a successful trader because then you'll trade day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and you'll have a business relationship. Boom! Nice. So anyways, tradersway.com. Here we are. So, FOMC. Are they going to adjust interest rates? No. Are they going to talk about tapering? No. Are they going to be asked about tapering? Yes. And what's their response? They're going to say, Steampy. Of course, they've already told us. They told us 6 months ago, 9 months ago. They're probably 2023. If we overshoot potential GDP. Well, they didn't say that, but they said if they're going to let it overshoot. So if you know what that means, we're nowhere near that yet. Okay? Okay? Huh? Daniel's making fun of my $100 bills and strippers, huh? I don't know nothing about that. Cool. All right. So, what do we see here? Well, yen's still weak. Okay, that's really good. That's very good. Okay, and we know because you paid attention to the news releases on Monday that there's no inflation in Japan, and in fact, their new basket, including mobile phone prices and costs of mobile service, are being pushed down by the government initiative, and then they've added it to the CPI. So the government is pushing down the CPI, so there's even less inflation in Japan. And of course, the Bank of Japan's like, well, of course, we're trying to create inflation. The government's trying to lower inflation. So they're like, what are we going to do? Huh? So we're a long ways away from high interest rates in Japan. In fact, I've been trading for 20 years and it's been low or low or low or low. So, yeah, yen is still low. Great. Cool. Fine. Okay. Now, USD, however, we get caught in these news cycles where I think there's not a lot to talk about. So suddenly all the talking heads on TV are like, well, maybe the Fed needs to taper. Maybe they need to move it early. They're going to raise interest rates sooner than later. Well, look, before they do it, they're going to tell us way in advance. So if they're going to start, let's say, tapering in September or October, they need to tell us soon, but there's no evidence of that yet. So I don't know. I wouldn't adjust $1 billion portfolio over a hunch. Okay? So anyway, so we will watch. Daniel says money circulates everywhere. Well, that's the velocity of money. So we were talking about that yesterday. Right. When you think of inflation, you have to think of velocity. Okay. So what we're saying is the number of dollars in circulation times how many times each dollar is used, and it's typically 7 in the United States. It could be 6. Okay. In fact, I can change that, but we'll leave it there. So the amount of dollars in circulation, how many times it's circulated, okay? And then you get nominal GDP times the price, and they should equal. Okay. All right, where'd my drawing tool go? Where'd my drawing tool go? Oh, it's way over there. All right, cool. So we're a long ways away from that. Okay. So let's start with commodities again. Okay. WTI, my oh my, still trying to work its way up. Okay. This is kicking off the mean. Like we talked about yesterday and the day before, if you measure, I guess February, March up until now, from this peak, what you're seeing is, maybe we can adjust it if we want, but I think it's fine. What we're seeing is there's still a negative slope to the mean. That doesn't mean down, but it does mean slower up, maybe down. So currently what it's looking at like is it's working its way up, double bottom at 1 standard deviation below the mean, then it breaks through the mean, roll reversal at the mean, probably get a target near this 1 standard deviation above the mean. And really, there's no technical analysis to tell you if this is likely to go up higher or not. That would have to be your fundamental bias. And in fact, what it says is probably down one more time. That's what it says. Now, you throw in some seasonality in there, and you should know where peak oil is, where on the calendar. Okay, it's an issue of calendar. Okay. Do you see this vertical line? You may have forgotten, since we've been talking about this since way down here. The vertical line has a seasonal importance to me. You may have forgotten, but I'm predicting something will occur when we get to that line. Well, we got a few candles before we get to that line. Okay. Cool. Nice. Fine. Good. Okay. Take a look at here. Let's move over to gold. Once again, double bottom on April 1st. Rally up, hit our target on April 21st. And sure enough, it stopped and has dropped and is now reapproaching our entry zone for a continuation to the bullish upside. For that to occur, we're going to need consumption to continue to rise and U.S. imports continuing to rise. When do we get like import-export data? When does that occur? Let's take a look. Forex.Today news calendar. Let's take a look. Take a look. Oh, today? Well, that's an amazing coincidence. Amazing, right? So I want this to head down, and if so, the dollar will head down. Nice! Which means price of gold will go up. Nice, right? What do you stink? Smell like a plan? Okay. Mohammed says, hey, will demand for oil change with green energy? Not today. Not today, son. Okay. This isn't a philosophical discussion about whether, crude oil is good or bad, or is it the future? Is it the past? We're not having a debate or a philosophical discussion. We're just trying to make money, right? So I'm much more worried about today, tomorrow, next week than the future demand. Okay. Anyways, but you can price all that out. There's still going to be plenty to do with crude oil. Like so let's say we fast forward 10 years from now. Okay. Let's say half the cars in America will be electric. Cool. Love it. Great. Are we still going to have plastic in our lives? Are machines still going to need lubricant? Will jets be battery powered yet, or will they still need jet fuel? Will we still put tar on the road? Okay. So, anyways, check this out. Do you notice anything different? Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. Okay. Yen weak. Okay. See our yen. Purpley purple. USD. Quite weak compared to everybody else, but yen is still weaker than the dollar. These two are the weakest currencies. The only ones I've been trading, and I've been selling them and selling them and selling them and selling them. In fact, back in April of 2020, which we were here at 95, I said, sell the US dollar for 5 years, and it's been going down ever since. Now, this little upward move is also something that we predicted to happen early in the year, and now I'm predicting that it works its way back down. Oh my God, that's Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you, Forex.Today. What do you stink? So you could say, oh, pound dollar, pound yen. Nice. Okay. Cool. Cool. Bitty, bitty, bitty. Can't you see? All right. Cool. Back at 55. Do what you want to do on this one, man. This one's yours. This one's yours. All this other stuff has been pretty decent. I've lined all this stuff up for you, but right now, what does the technical analysis tell us? Technical analysis tells us this is toppish. Oh, that's not supposed to be a circle, but worked out. This is mid and this is low. So we're in the middle of the range. Does the middle of the range mean up or down? What does this mean? Okay. Focus says, isn't May strong for the dollar? It can be if there's profit taking in the stock market. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it means neutral. Means bull. In fact, there's a little bit of bearishness. Like, for example, would a bull buy this? In Bitcoin they might, but you probably shouldn't. Would a bull buy down here? Yeah, I get that, and they would probably buy down here too. But buying in the middle and something that's potentially a top is generally not a good idea. Okay? Oh, I have a question here. What about USD yen? I don't trade two funding currencies against each other. Okay? Anyways, let's go to this. This would be a better place for a bear to sell, but a bear could sell here too. Okay? Should a bull buy this? No. They could buy it over here though. So let me take a fresh look at this from a bullish point of view. I wouldn't buy here, but I would buy here. And you're like, Wayne, it's the same price. Yeah, well, price is only half the equation, right? Price plus time. So it might be the right price, but it's the wrong time. So I would suggest more like something like this would be, as a bull, that would be my plan. Okay? Now remember, we did technical analysis wonderfully on this. We measured from here to here, okay? And we had this as a buy, and we said it would go to 65. And it went to like 64.97. And this is, right, take profit, and that's that. So now we're down here. So if I were me, I would sort of have this as more top-ish than anything, and I'd be careful. It's not. In fact, I think nobody actually sells Bitcoin. I think everyone just buys it. So it's like buy, take profit, buy, take profit, buy, take profit, buy, take profit, or whatever. So do what you want to do, but it just seems to me that there's very little analysis going into here if you're buying at this price, at this point. When you come from a bottom, buying at 55 is not a good idea. Coming from a top, buying at 55 is great, as long as you're a bull. Okay? Cool. I got to move. Give me the juice. What else? Role reversal, indeterminate. It would be it, Brown. Neutral. Be careful. Oh, let me go back to the USD yen one. Do I still have Forex.Today open? I do. Okay. So somebody said, well, how about trading USD yen? Okay. You're not understanding this. Let me kind of break this down. So, right? Let me explain you, Lucy. This is neutral. Okay, it's an index. So anything above this is positive, and everything below that is negative. So the question is, why not trade USD yen? Well, you could, and you might even make money, but it's a really dumb idea. You're not, right? Anyone doing that is not doing any relative strength exercises. Now, you can use this for relative strength. You can use the indices that are provided through metatraders.com. What I prefer you do is actually do your analysis and go through your charts and do a relative strength exercise. You're actually supposed to be doing the work. With that being said, if you traded USD yen based on this information, it's a dumb trade. What can I say? You could have fallen down the stairs and randomly hit your mouse and probably have found a better trade. Okay? So what a relative strength exercise does is pairs strong versus weak. So the strongest is Great British Pound and the weakest is Japanese yen. Doesn't predict the future. It doesn't say that that's going to be a good trade in the future, but it does say in the past. And by the past, I mean 6 months worth of data. The next one looks like euro. So you could probably be long euro, yen as well. Great. Good. And then I would immediately then say Great British Pound versus USD, the second weakest on the planet. Okay. And then euro dollar. Now I have 4 trades, the 2 strongest versus the 2 weakest. What more do you need? But this would be the dumbest trade you could possibly construct. I would have to mock you and shame you publicly and then possibly fire you. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm pairing weak versus weak, but I'm hoping one of them is weaker than the other weak one. You're fired. All right, Sharma. Cool. So, point made, I think, right? Cool. Just having fun. All right, nothing like public humiliation to start the day. And I ran so far away. This makes me so happy. We're right back to my exit price. Remember, I was short here, and then I'm like, yeah, something's not right. So I bailed right there for a -3. So check this out. All it did is went to the projected top and then dropped. I'm like, nice. Thank you. Okay. Mexican peso. I have this on the daily, and I'm watching things like GDP, exports. And as you know, there is a surprising deficit on exports. You're like, Wayne, that's so confusing. Mexico imported in February more than they exported. So that obviously would lead to some strength here. Or lack of strength, I should say. You gotta be careful. I'm thinking pairs, right? So I want Mexico to export more, which means they're importing Mexican peso. And that means Mexican peso would get strong. So I'm watching GDP, exports, and then yesterday or the day before, I was discussing Mexican peso leading indicators. Okay. Their interest rate is 4.5%, so I'm picking up a positive carry. But if imports are going up more than exports, then the peso will weaken. But what I'm trying to do is get back onto this trade because my future guidance suggests an increase in exports. That's what I want. An increase in exports. So one of the things I was looking at is COVID in Mexico relative to some other countries, and it's doing better than Brazil, for example, and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I got somewhat of a positive outlook on Mexico. Okay, love Mexico. Okay, so checking that out. And in my research yesterday, Argentina is paying 40% right now on bonds. Let me ask you this. Why is it that the world isn't flocking to Argentina and buying bonds at 40%? Because remember, when Greece went to 20%, the world bailed out Greece, not the ECB. The world, hedge funds bailed out Greece, not ECB. The ECB didn't spend €1 to save Greece. So why is it that if you double what Greece was paying in its bonds, how come Argentina isn't being saved? But Jim, Greece had a bad government. They were lying on their books, right? So what's the difference? Okay, there you go. So when Mario Draghi said, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I'll do whatever it takes to protect the euro. Wink, wink, nudge. You know what I mean? Well, I'll do whatever it takes to save the euro. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know what I mean? Right? Implied guarantee. Okay. Is there another reason? Think about the most obvious reason. Okay? Come on. Think about it. What's the most obvious? What's the first thing any investor needs to do with this information? Aha, come on. Get in there, guys. Think about it. Think about it as a financier. Just do like a spreadsheet. If you were going to do like financial calculations, discounted cash flow over the life of the bond or whatever, this isn't enough information to make the decision. So what's the real thing? Past performance? No. If there's a guaranteed? No. Growth? No. Hyperinflation? Risk management? Risk? No. You're not quite getting there. What creates the risk? Why would nobody ever want to take this deal? Well, no one would take the deal if they thought they would lose money. Why would they lose money? Come on, think about it. This isn't the information we need. It's only part of it. Aha! Peter's got it. Inflation. So this is a nominal number. To get real, okay, right? To get real, you have to do nominal minus inflation to get the real rate of return. So, nominal interest rate is 40% minus the inflation rate of 50% equals a guaranteed return of negative 10%. Who wants to invest? Made a socialist pig dogs. Oh man, I love Argentina. I wish it weren't so. I wish Argentina was in a much better place. I have an Argentine friend who's one of the best guys I've ever met in my life. I've heard Buenos Aires used to be at least the Paris of Latin America. It's got fabulous wine if you like Malbec. Yeah, sure, it's Merlot. Don't call it Merlot. All right, we'll call it Malbec, right? Horses, mountains, like, man, have you ever gone skiing on the 4th of July? Okay. Yeah, and Messi. Yeah, that too. Right? Oh, and the Pope, right? So anyway, it's like, yeah, I mean, oh my gosh. But corruption in Argentina, and that is the socialist pig dog stuff. What happens is inevitably you get to this thing where people end up, it's called rents. It's more like expenses, where you get to a point where if you need a building permit, you have to bribe 5 different government departments. And, you know, and I have never done that, so I shouldn't even be saying it. But there's reasons that you get into a situation like this. And really, you know, it's probably left over from World War II kind of time period. Before World War I, okay, Canada and the United States were equally wealthy. They both were commodity producing countries. They had, fabulous land, small populations, but right, and were able to take in money, invest into society or whatever, and they were growing at about the same rate of GDP. They had about the same rate of per capita GDP, their GDP both nominal and real. So they were essentially the same type of country providing the same types of goods and services globally, right? With the same amount of standard of living and the same amount of educated workforce, right? Right, so capital and labor were about the same, all that kind of stuff. And then socialist pig dog showed up and crashed a beautiful country and hurt wonderful people. Okay? Destroyed it like it destroys everything. Oh, am I opinionated? Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, dude, you're a Forex trader. You have to be opinionated. What do you think about the Mexican peso? Well, I don't know. It could go up or it could go down. You're fired, dude. Do you have an opinion? Oh, Mexican peso? Gee whiz, did you see leading indicators the other day? Now, sure, I got shocked on that negative exporting data, but I think that's a transitory issue. Okay? If you look at GDP and expected GDP growth, and in fact, and its relationship with the United States and its desire to increase its consumption over the next 6 to 12 months, blah, 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 blah. My opinion is buy Mexican peso. Plus, you're going to catch the positive carry. Look, your job is to be opinionated. And of course, when you go to raise a fund, not only do you have to be opinionated, you have to convince people you're right. So going up on stage, you're like, well, I don't really know. Okay? So you're going to have to do the research so you're opinionated on everything. Talk about the South African rand. Oh, the South African rand. Don't even get me started. Woo-wee. Right? And you grab the mic. You walk on stage. Yeah, a funny thing happened to me on the way to South Africa, right? And you should be able to talk about the rand for an hour. Okay? That kind of stuff. Your job is to be opinionated. Okay? Am I the only one that watched Mexican GDP? Or read or followed or paid attention to Mexican import-export data, Mexican leading indicators, these types of things? Am I the only one that did it? And you're like, well, I don't trade peso. Hey, man, I'm only picking up a 4.5% carry times 100-to-1 leverage. So I'm only being paid 450% a year to invest into Mexico, not including the pips. Okay? Reina says Argentina and South Africa very similar. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Yeah, it could be. I suppose you can. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe not population size. You want to kind of population Argentina. 50 million. Holy crap. 45 million people in Argentina? Get out of here. $60 million in South Africa. Gee whiz. A lot of people in a small place, huh? I mean, it's hard to call South Africa small, but if you've ever been to Canada, it's a big. It's a very big. It's a very big. Right? Wayne Brown says, hey, do I need to use a code for Traders Way so I get paid? First of all, thank you, Mr. Brown. I appreciate your loyalty because I know what you're asking. Am I going to earn am I going to earn a fee or commission or something if you open up a Trader's Way account? No, I do not. So no code is needed. There's no link. There's no link. There's no tracking code. There's no pixel. No. You do that on your own accord, and I'm not involved. So, but thank you. I appreciate that. Nuno's like, you speak such good Italian. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Raymond's like 60 million is documented. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. All right. So it's better to compare apples. By the way, how do you compare South Africa to Argentina? Why don't we do a quick macro analysis? Okay, how do you compare the which is better? Oh, Maida's got a link. Yeah, someone else can earn a commission. All of a sudden, everyone's like, use my link, use my link. How funny. All right. Anyone want to guess? How do we compare South Africa? This is Marina. Marina brought it up. So how do we do it? Which is a better country? Right? It's a tough question. How about, let's say better is not good. How about who has the higher standard of living? Okay. Population isn't enough to determine, right? So now you have to do let's go through the mental process. Okay. Oh my God. You guys are going to love it. GDP of Argentina. GDP of South Africa. All right. Argentina wins. Is this good analysis? Does GDP represent the standard of living? By the way, if you're in my macro class, don't answer. Don't spoil it. Let people think. Because I know anyone in my macro class can do this with their eyes and ears closed. All right. Is this a fair representation of the standard of living between these two economies? Okay. Moreno's like, I reckon they're both equal. Cool. Let's not reckon. Let's get it. Well, the first thing is you have to account for inflation because they don't have the same levels of inflation, do they? So let's adjust for currency risk. And it's not giving us real GDP. Come on, Google. What's the real rate of growth? How do I calculate real GDP? Come on. Oh man, they're going to make it difficult. Why can't they do that? All right, I guess we would skip that, but okay, it's sad, isn't it? What is GDP? Why wouldn't you have real GDP? Anyways, we'll have to skip it, but I think you agree that you might want to account for inflation. Let's see if it'll give us this now. We haven't accounted for the population. They have different populations. Okay? So what you want is per capita. Okay? And per capita. Oh, per capita. Okay. And Argentina wins again. Okay? Because productivity ends up being income. Okay? Because you can measure it two different ways and they end up being the same. Okay? So you can look at it this way. Okay? That Argentina is more productive per person and therefore earns more money per person on aggregate accounting, right? It's per person. So we're stripping out the population size. We're saying per worker, per available worker, in this case, well, everyone, per citizen, how much income do they earn? Because you can say consumption and income, or right? So anyways, because you get paid. You're going to be paid for something. Then you go out and consume, and all this all adds up. Okay, now you would want to adjust for real. So typically what I would do is I would do GDP, real GDP, and then per cap GDP. Okay, so and that's a significant difference, right? So just for fun, I can't. Of course, it won't let me. So 10,000 over 6,000, right? Big money. So it looks like you're still better off living in Argentina. Okay. Okay. Any thoughts about that? Again, we don't need to go philosophical deep dive into it. It's like when you buy something, consumption, okay, you give money and you get whatever you consumed. Ice cream. Okay, so you consume some ice cream. Where does the money go? Well, the ice cream shop. Oops, let's. I should plan these things out, huh? Okay, so the shop gets money. Okay, so you give up money and you get a treat. Okay, great. So the consumption's over. Now the shop, what, pays rent? Pays interest on loans. Okay, pays wages. Pays for inventory. Okay. And then what? Profit is left over at the end. And that gets distributed to the owner. Now, the wages go to someone else that pays their rent, buys their groceries, buys their medicine, and buys their booze. The profit by the shop owner pays their mortgage, pays pays for the Ferrari, but also gets invested in the stock market, so that then gets put into I. Okay? But what you end up seeing is the rent then goes to the landlord, and it's the landlord's income. The interest goes to the bank as income. Wages goes to the employee as income. Inventory then becomes spending again, which is a new form of consumption. So now the factory that makes the waffle cones, now they have income, and then profit goes to the shop owner, who does what with it? either saves it or invests it. And savings is equal to investment. Okay? So what is this saying? Well, this consumption goes into GDP, and we looked at, right? And then you can see this consumption is spending. The spending becomes other people's income, and then they go out and spend. Right? And of course, the more you spend, the more you earn. And therefore, the idea is if you earn more money, you probably have a higher standard of living. You probably eat better. You live in a safer neighborhood and all that kind of stuff. So I boil all this back down. The average person, according to per capita GDP, right, you can say it's $6,000 in South Africa and it's $10,000, right? So 10K, I guess I should do it to keep it the same. Or it's 10K in Argentina. Okay? And we're trying to say all things are equal. Now, what you want to do beyond this is like real. So now I would take this and adjust for inflation. Typically, I would adjust for inflation first and then find the per capita GDP. But honestly, like if you had $10,000 and lived in Argentina or $6,000 in South Africa, who lives the better life? Well, if we have 8% inflation here and 70% inflation, well, we know this is actually 50% inflation, okay? Then we would say, okay, well, then on real terms, maybe per capita real GDP of 5,000 in South Africa and 5,000, right, in Argentina. And then Moreno would be right. Adjusted for inflation, per capita GDP would be about the same. Okay. Okay. So we don't know if it's true or not, right, Moreno? But anyways, so do your own homework. That should be pretty easy to do, right? I can show you how to do it in the United States. You go to the Fred. At the St. Louis Fed. Okay, so you can do things like real per capita GDP. Probably no. Real per capita. Oh, I did capital again. Real GDP per capita, maybe. Okay, and here it is. Just like that. Thank you, America. Okay. Thank you, America. It's nice. Okay, so you can find this stuff pretty easy. Isn't that nice? 57. So now you can say, okay, you can live in South Africa and have $5,000 a year. You can live in Argentina, right, and have $5,000 a year. Or you can live in the United States and have $57,000 a year. Which one do you choose? Could be a trick question. Why don't you save up $1 million in America and then go live in Argentina or South Africa? Because now, when you live there and you have money, now your labor, your products and your services are cheap. So now you can, right, now you can increase your standard of living by 10 times more because everything is, right? Because you can say, well, the standard of living is 57 in the United States and it's 5 in South Africa, right? So you can just call that 10 to 1. So make $1 million, move to South Africa, and it's like you have $10 million. Buy yourself a good place, and your maid is cheap, your gardener's cheap, all that kind of stuff. Because, right? Cool. Okay. Plus, South Africa will pay you a lot of money in interest. Yeah, Marina's like, well, see, that's the issue. That's the issue too, right? That's why we want to look for standards of living. Yeah. Hey, man, I was in South Africa. People had Ferraris. You know, fake Ferraris, though, California Spiders. I'm like, what is it? Nice Corvette, bro. Right? An Italian Corvette. It's not a Ferrari if the engine's in front of you. What are you talking about? This is not a Ferrari. Ferrari. Come on. Gee whiz. It's like, hey, look at my Lambo. I'm like, dude, Gallardos are not Lambos. What are you talking about? All right. All right. Yen yen. What should be ideal time to learn macroeconomics for Forex? Tuesdays at 2 p.m. when I do the lectures. Cool. Here's our Euro Yen. Oscar Mike. Okay. I've already done all the work for you. There it is, yo. Okay. So now we just got to kind of... Okay. Okay. Up, 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 down, down. 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 Up, up. Okay. Now, to carry that idea further, and I'm using neurolinguistic programming so that you remember. That's why there's a melody to it. Your brain will remember the music, the sound, the cadence. Up, 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 down, down, buy. 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 Marina says lots of supercars in South Africa. Yeah, yeah. In Joburg, there were plenty. But understand, like, so she says only for the rich. But that's the thing. So if you make $10 million abroad and then bring that to South Africa, your standard of living, like your house might actually be expensive. I'm not so sure. But then everything else, your groceries are going to be cheaper, right? Your maid is going to be cheaper. The gardener is going to be cheaper. The mechanics are going to be cheaper. And there's actually people trying to account for that. And the calculations get really quickly where you can say, well, per capita GDP isn't actually better or a perfect measure because of these other things. Like, so now you have to look at locals, right? Local goods and services might be cheap, but then foreign are very expensive. So you make your money abroad, come back to South Africa, and your Ferrari might be a lot more money to buy in South Africa. A laptop is probably expensive. A TV is probably expensive. But your food, so like if you use purchasing power parity, for example, if you look at PPP, you'll see like in you'll say, like, let's say, I don't know, a can of Coke is $1. I'm wondering if this is going to work. How much is a can? A can, standard can of Coke in South Africa? $500? Is that right? Okay, is it 15 or is it 500? They're not even close. 12 rand. 12 rand, 15 rand sound very similar. Right. Maurice is like the Big Mac index is another one of doing it, right? He's not lying, but he'd be incorrect. 10 to 15. Depends where you shop. I don't say like go to a nightclub or a 5-star hotel. Look, go in the local convenience store, the local corner shop. Okay. And anyway, so you'll find that there's some consistency here, but if you buy like, if you isolate into here, there are going to be certain things in South Africa that are just cheaper. Yeah, but about 10, right? Yeah. So there's a 10 to 1, right? So a rand is worth 10 cents. Okay, but what you'll find is some things are going to be worth a lot more, and a rand will be, in comparison, might be worth 5 cents, and a rand locally might be worth more like 25 cents in comparison, because there's a difference between local, domestic, and very often like hyper local, like your neighborhood, your city. If workers, for example, need work, they may work cheaper, right? So anyways, so you'd have to make your money somewhere else and pay more to bring stuff into South Africa, but you may pay less. So in here, it's sort of half, but you might be able to get the equation differently, where domestic stuff might, let's say foreign stuff when you bring in might be 3 times more expensive. So a $200,000 Ferrari costs you $600,000 in South Africa with all the conversions and taxes and all that kind of stuff. But local products might be 5 times cheaper or 10 times cheaper. So, I hear of stories, and I don't know if it's true anymore, but, I had a buddy that moved to the Philippines, and this kid could barely take care of himself, so it was his first time away from mommy. But as as a young foreign man in this foreign land, he was paid in Canadian dollars or whatever, and so he had enough money to rent his own house, not an apartment, but he rented his own house, and he had a woman come in every day and do his grocery shopping, do the cleaning, do some cooking for him, right, that kind of stuff. An old man would come around once or twice a week and take care of the yard, and he lived like a king. And you're like, wow, that's cool. But even in Georgia, you got to pay $300 a month and up for someone to mow and blow your yard. You're like, 300. Okay. Anyways. All right. So there's a trend. I hope you're on the trend. Oh, speaking about gardeners. Haha. Haha. I think they're here. All right. So we're working our way up. Are we going to get our breakout? Yeah, sure enough, there's Gardner. Okay, working our way up. So I don't know if you're buying dips or not. M2 is here, right? And now we're trying to project into the future. Obviously, this is our best expected price to buy. Got no follow through, so that might have changed your bias. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully you're doing more than technical analysis to say, well, we might be here, but I still think up. So now in May, you're probably going to look at something like that. Okay. Pound all over the place. This is if you were a bear. Okay, it's not my projection. Okay, we're talking about the risk, right? Downside risk was this conversation. Kitty CAD. Okay, I'm bullish on Kitty CAD. Very nice. Stepping up. Possibly a front run. Okay. We're in a challenge zone. I wouldn't be buying at 88. I think you waited way too long. 86 was a better price. 88 is just dumb in the current moment. So if I zoom in a little bit, if you were going to buy at 88, it would have to be in a scenario that looked like this. Higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay. So once again, same price, different time. And what this would do, this would, if it worked out for you, it would reduce risk. And that's a major part of your job. Any idiot can buy, but if you can buy with lower risk, then you're smart. If you buy with lots of risk, then you're an idiot. Kiwi, 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 can't you see? So this one finally woke up. Do you remember how hard this was? Tried and tried and tried on this one. Just never got it. Even CAD and peso were really tough on me. I tried and tried and tried, never quite got these. And, so maybe it's the next move. Okay, but there's something nice going on there. Okay, and I think I'll leave it at that. We did peso and we did rand. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it at that because we have there's an OPEC meeting going on. We have FOMC this afternoon, and we have the quote unquote State of the Union address later today. There's a lot going on. I don't need to overdo it because everything could radically change by tomorrow. I'm just going to lay back and let it happen. So with that being said, thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for the hard work that you're doing. Thank you for being a client to Trader's Way. Thank you for being a student at FX Bootcamp. And that's that. If you need a link to my book or to my chart templates, all the links are in the description below the video. Please give me a thumbs up if you learned or enjoyed this, learned from or enjoyed this session. And please leave a comment under the recording. Okay? That tells YouTube this was quality content. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. Have a great day. Cheers.